Hi, everyone, and welcome to my brand new podcast, All or Nothing with Anita Nicole. I'm so excited to share this journey with you as I introduce you to people who share some of their lifelong stories. I hope their stories inspire you and ultimately help you to elevate your life. This has been a lifelong passion of mine, so I really hope you enjoy this podcast. I look forward to the feedback, and if you have any questions or comments, please do share. Now it's time for us to elevate together. Today we have a very special guest by the name of Shawn Edwards. So, Shawn, for people that don't know you, could you explain your role and the background of the company that you work for?
Well, first of all, the name of the company is called Hidden Empire Film Group. It's a production company based in Los Angeles, California. We produce feature films, television series, and documentaries. And my role with the company is I sort of work as a consultant, and my official title is the Director of Marketing Strategies for the movies, TV series, and documentaries that we produce to figure out how we can get an audience to watch the movies, TV shows, and documentaries, sort of figure out marketing strategies, PR strategies, and sort of get particular titles into the space so that people know about them and want to go and see them or want to stream them or buy tickets for them. It's a really big part of the movie producing process that a lot of people often tend to forget about or don't realize how difficult it is and how much money it costs to actually market and promote a movie. Because just because you make a movie doesn't automatically mean people are going to run and go see it. You have to come up with a strategy and an attack plan so that people know about the title and want to go out and see and support the title so that it does well at the box office or it does well with TV ratings and get you back your end result, which is the money that you poured into it, you get it back, so you show a profit. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Good luck, God willing, all that good stuff.
Sounds amazing.
It's I mean, it's like any job. It's the coolest job in the world, but it takes a lot of hard work. Not everyone can do it. It's a difficult process, but it's definitely enjoyable. I mean, I love doing it. I work 365. Like, I work every single day around the clock, but I wouldn't want to do anything else. And working for Hidden Empire Film Group has been amazing. Our director, Deon Taylor, is blowing up, and we've had some success with our recent feature films. So we're really feeling good, and we're happy about the way things are playing out.
It sounds incredible, and it's really good to hear people say that they're really passionate about their jobs.
Well, you have to, man. If you're not passionate about your job, then you need to find something else to do because you're not going to be good at it. Because there's always ups and downs, and if you're not passionate about it, the downs are going to definitely knock you out.
I completely agree with you. So, do you have any advice for young filmmakers or actors trying to get into the industry?
Yeah, I definitely do. The biggest piece of advice I would give any young filmmaker, I'm going to start with filmmakers first because that's what I do. This is what I started off doing ever since I was in the seventh grade back in the day when I made my very first film using a Super 8 millimeter camera. The one piece of advice I would give any young filmmaker is find the money first. Figure out how much it's going to cost to produce your film and then get the money because it's all about financing. It's all about money. You can write the best screenplay. You can have the best idea on the planet, but if you don't have any money to get it made, no one's ever going to see your project. Yeah. So it really is about the financing. It's about the money. It's about, having enough dollars or having enough pounds to get your actual product produced. That's number one. You gotta find a way to get the money. Then everything else falls into place after that. And that's the one thing they really don't teach like young filmmakers in film school. I was never taught that. We always focused on the craft and the creativity, but nobody really talked about like the financing and the importance of having the money to get your project finished. Mm-hmm. So get the money. This is really, really important. Seriously, get the money.
And for actors?
For actors, it's just about like following your dream, following your passion, and just really going out there and every single day, like tracking down auditions and getting in front of the people who produce films and showing them what you can do and just being, unafraid to fail and unafraid to try again because you're going to be told no more times than you're told yes. But when you finally get that yes, it's going to be completely rewarding, but you can't let the no's stop you from pursuing your dream. Now, it also helps if you're really serious about acting to sort of relocate to Los Angeles because that is the movie making capital of the United States. I mean, there are other countries that produce a gang of movies. I mean, they make a lot of movies in China, they make a lot of movies in Nigeria, they make a lot of movies all over the world. But in terms of Hollywood, home base is Los Angeles, California. And if you relocate there, it gives you a better shot at actually making it in the biz. Now, because of modern technology, a lot of people now are having auditions where you can Skype your audition or you can FaceTime your audition. But if you really want to beat the pavement and just pound it out, you almost have to be in Los Angeles, California.
I hear that. So
That's where the magic happens. At least on the business end, they don't shoot a lot of films anymore in L.A. But all the major studios are located there and television networks are based there. So it tends to help. But they're making movies all over the world. And because of modern technology, it's not as crucial as it used to be. But I still think it's fairly important.
yeah. What do you think are the most important habits of a successful person?
The most important habit, just speaking in generalities, is do something every day or practice every day. Like if you're a screenplay writer, you got to write every day. If you're an actor, you got to rehearse something every day. If you're a director, you got to shoot and direct something every day. You got to practice it every day. Like my number one habit that I tell everyone to sort of like fall into is that if you write something every day, because I think the most valuable talent anyone can have, whether they're like in front of the camera or behind the camera, is to become a good writer. Because if you become a good writer, I mean, you could basically work anywhere in the world. And the best way to become a good writer is to write something every single day. I started off as a writer. It was sort of my gateway into the movie industry. So if you write every day, you become a stronger writer and you become better at the craft. And this is for every single person on the planet should write something every day. So that's the one habit I beg people to have. Is to just wake up and write something. I mean, it doesn't have to be long. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything meaningful or important. Just write something every day.
Yeah,
like seriously, the art of writing is so important, and it's beginning to become sort of like a lost art form. So that just write, and I mean, you could work anywhere in the world at any age if you're a great writer.
Yeah, I've been given that advice too, just to journal all your thoughts.
Exactly.
And get everything out.
Yes, just get it out, man.
Yeah.
Put it on paper or type it on your phone or your laptop, whatever tool you're using these days. Just get it out there. There's so many ways to write and type now. It's almost like you have no excuse not to write every day.
Yeah, I hear that. What was the best part of working on the Black and Blue movie, and what new lessons did you learn to take with you moving forward?
Wow, that's a great question because Black and Blue is the latest film produced by Hidden Empire Film Group in conjunction with Sony through Screen Gems. And it was sort of a different experience for us because Hidden Empire Film Group was known for being an independent film company, which means every single film prior to Black and Blue that we produced, we financed ourselves, produced ourselves, filmed ourselves. It was our baby. Black and Blue is not necessarily Hidden Empire Film Group's baby. So it was learning how to work in partnership with a major studio. So it actually means like having to answer to more people, having different directives, like in the pre-production phase, during shooting, they controlled a lot of what was going on in terms of the scheduling and the budgets, and you're just answering to a lot more people. Because when you're independent, you do what you want to do because it's yours.
Yeah.
But when you work with a studio, you're answering to a lot more people. Yeah. In the post-production phase and the editing, there's a lot more testing of the movie that goes into it because they're a big studio and they have certain templates and formulas that they use to measure how well a movie's going to play that we didn't necessarily use when we were an independent film company. And then on the marketing side, we're working in conjunction with the Sony marketing team. So they have specific ways on how they market their films, and we have to match that with the specific ways that we use to market our independent films. And it's sort of like a marriage. It's like there's a little bit of give, there's a little bit of take, and you try to find common ground and you compromise. But, the end result is to have a successful movie that plays well at the box office. But it was just a different experience working with a major studio. But it's necessary experience because it's definitely something that we want to do in the future. Because, just going the independent route 100%, it's cool. But you have to branch out and learn how to do different things in this industry. So it was definitely a great experience. But it was definitely a learning experience as well.
Yeah.
But Sony's mad cool, though. I mean, I love working with Screen Gems. So we'll see how it goes from here. It definitely has put a different spotlight on our company because now other studios noticed the partnership we had with Sony. So they're like, hey, we want to be in the Hidden Empire Film Group business now too. So the exposure is wonderful. So we'll see how it plays down the road. But job well done to Sony. Job well done to Deon Taylor with Black and Blue, starring Academy Award nominee Naomi Harris and Tyrese Gibson. So we'll see how it plays. But we're really looking forward to what happens with the film down the road, and hopefully it opens the doors for future opportunities.
It sounds incredible.
Well, I personally love the movie. I've always been a huge fan of Naomi Harris ever since I first saw her in 28 Days Later, and she's incredible. This is different for her, and she's really representing on screen in the themes of female empowerment and police corruption. I think the film does an amazing job of tackling those issues, but still maintaining that entertaining vibe so that audiences, can have a lot of fun while they're watching, but then also realize, oh, this movie has like a really strong and dope message in there as well. And we shot the entire film in New Orleans, which in my opinion is the best city on the planet to visit. This is unlike any place I've ever been. I've been a lot of places all over the world, but there's something about New Orleans that just sticks with me. So it was so cool to showcase a different side of New Orleans for this film. So I'm really happy for that city. I can't wait for people to see the film. I mean, like I said, I personally love it. I think it's going to hit a lot of people like really hard, but in a good way. And I'm just like 100% proud of Naomi Harris for finally like being the lead in a major motion picture. Her name's on the top of the poster and she's representing, and it's so great for her career.
It's an amazing film. I can attest to that.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're more than welcome.
'Cause sometimes the critics can be mean. I know. I used to be one, so I mean, I know how it goes, man. I can rip them up and tear them down. So to get that compliment from you means a lot.
You're welcome. Only good things to say about it. So, what has been your hardest job of your career thus far?
Wow, that's a really great question. The hardest job of my career so far. Man, it hasn't really, I wouldn't say it's hard. I'd say the most difficult part about navigating the industry is just networking and connecting with the right people and landing at the right shop. And I've done that with Hidden Empire Film Group, but it took a long time. It took patience. It took working with other production companies and not necessarily failing, but realizing it wasn't perhaps the right fit and trying to figure out, where do I go from here? Who do I meet to give me another opportunity to do what I love? So like the networking part, it's always difficult, whether you're networking to advance your career or networking to obtain financing for a project. Like the networking component can be very difficult because you meet a lot of people who say a lot of things, and only 1% of those people are actually going to do what they say or actually represent who they actually are. I mean, you hear a lot. You get told a lot of stories, and people tell you a lot of things about what they can and cannot do, and most of it's just like, oh my, are you serious right now? So just navigating the networking landscape can be tremendously difficult.
Wow.
It's hard, but when you find the right fit, it's wonderful.
What are 3 things you wish you had known before your current job?
Oh wow, that's a really great question. 3 things I wish I'd known. Number one, I mentioned at the top of the podcast, I wish I had known how important financing is to getting projects done. Because like when you're in film school, you're taught about film theory, and you're taught to be creative, and you're taught to like just explore and create what you want. But when I was in film school, I really wasn't taught how important financing is to actually making projects happen. So I wish I knew more about the financing. The second part is I wish I knew how important networking was, because that dictates a lot of choices. That dictates where you go to like college or university. It dictates like what city you want to live in. It dictates what company you should work for. So the networking thing is so crucial. So that's the second thing. I wish I knew how important the networking aspect was to like climbing the ladder in the movie industry. And then the third thing I wish I had known was, well, you probably would have, no one can predict the future, but I wish I had known how global the industry would become in the next 20 years. Wow. Because 20 years ago, the movie industry wasn't very global. Of course, there were other countries producing film, but now you almost have to look at everything as your audience is the entire world now, especially with technology like streaming that's in place, because you can produce something now and everyone can instantly watch it wherever they are. And even with theatrical releases, like 20 years ago, you didn't have as many U.S. films screening in China or Russia or Brazil as you do now. So the landscape's definitely become more global. And I wish I had known that way ahead of time because it would have really redirected my focus because it really is a global marketplace now.
Wow, that's a really good answer.
Oh, but I wish I knew those three things. So money, networking, and global expansion.
Amazing. Who do you look up to most in this industry and why?
Well, right now, my boy Deon Taylor, he's someone who's like really been a huge mentor for me. He showed me the ropes. He showed me the ins and the outs from A to Z about a movie industry. But the one figure or person that really got me into filmmaking and really made me believe that I could do what I do now was Spike Lee. Because back in like, what was it, like 1986, like he was working on his first film, She's Gotta Have It. And it just so happens, like my mom, like there was two magazines my mother would always subscribe to. She would always get Ebony magazine and Essence magazine. And I would always read them because it always had a lot of information about what was going on in the black community, particularly in the United States. And so there was this issue of Essence magazine that talked about this guy that was in the process of making his own film. And it was Spike Lee. And before I read that article, I didn't even realize that black people like made their own movies. So I'm reading this article about Spike Lee, who's making his own movie. He financed it himself. It was called She's Gotta Have It. I was like, wow, this is incredible. I couldn't wait until it came out. Then it came out. I saw it. I was blown away. I had never seen anything like it. It was a quirky, romantic comedy that focused on this lady's sexuality and these three guys that she dated in Brooklyn. It was shot in black and white. And Spike Lee was one of the three guys. He played this guy named Mars Blackman, who was like really eccentric but cool. He wore Air Jordans, had dope gold chain that said Mars. I mean, everything about the movie was like so freaking incredible. And I was like, I'm gonna do that. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, man, Spike Lee is the man. Like he used his own money to get it made. It was like, it got critical praise. It made some money at the box office. I mean, everything about it was cool. I'm like, no, I'm 100% going to do that. So yeah, when it was time to enroll in college, I went to the exact same college where Spike Lee studied film, which was
Wow.
Morehouse College. Because no, he was the man. I'm like, I'm doing exactly what he's going to do, and then I'm following in the footsteps. So I'm trying to make it happen. But thanks, Spike Lee, man. You were the spark. You were the inspiration. And now I'm under the wing of Deon Taylor, who sort of got like that same mentality because he started off as an independent filmmaker. He's a self-taught filmmaker. He found a way to get the money. He makes these dope movies, and now he's on the large stage creating movies for major studios. I mean, we screen Black and Blue in London. I mean, that's like incredible. I mean, you talk about globalization. That's amazing to come from where Deon came from and where I came from to screen a movie clear across the Atlantic Ocean is like so dope. But Spike Lee's the spark, and Deon's the guy that's helping me make it happen.
Dope. Tell us about a project that failed and what you learned from it.
That's a good question, man. Your questions are fire. I'm in the middle of working on a project that's currently failing, and it's like crushing my heart. I've been trying to produce this documentary for like almost 10 years now on the history of black film. Like I just feel it's really important that we document the history of black film, not just in the United States, but all over the world. And I put together a script. Yeah, I have everything I need to do to make it happen. But I've been trying to like secure financing for this thing for 10 years. And I get close, and then the people are like, nope. And I get close again. They're like, nope. And I get close again. And like, no. And then I thought 2019 would be the perfect year to make it happen because 2019 represents the 100th anniversary of the first feature film directed, written, and produced by a black person, which is The Homesteader, which was directed, produced, and written by Oscar Micheaux. So I wanted to like create this documentary in his honor and celebrate 100 years of black film. I still think the idea is like incredibly cool, but it has been so very difficult to get it produced. See, I'm getting choked up talking about it. And I get I get so upset about it. But I mean, things happen when they're supposed to happen. Everything happens for a reason. I just get fired up about it. I just think it's the coolest idea, but it's tough. There's thousands of ideas, millions of ideas out there that never get done. I mean, Hopefully at some point this will see the light of day, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. It's crazy.
So takeaways from this project.
Sorry for getting choked up. Like,
It's okay.
I get mad. I'm like, man, this needs to happen. talked to so many people about this thing. Like, just show me the money, man.
You'll get it done. You'll get it done.
Yeah, hopefully one day. Hopefully I'm not 80 though. I'm gonna do it before I'm 80.
So your learning takeaways from this project, would you say you're learning to be more patient with yourself or with other people, or
Both. You got to be patient with yourself so you don't get discouraged. You got to be patient with other people because if you don't have the money yourself, they control your destiny. And you can't force them to do anything. You can't force anybody to do anything they don't want you to do. Hopefully you can convince them that your idea is good enough and has the potential to get the money back.
Wow.
That's where we're at. So you got to patience and self-preservation. I mean, that's what it is. So
Patience is a virtue.
yeah. Oh, it's more than that. It's just, like I said, you get told no more than you get told yes in this industry. So when you finally get yes, you celebrate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't over celebrate, but celebrate it just enough. But it's just like one of those things where it's how it works, man. I mean, even Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese have projects where they're like, it took me 15 years to get this done. It took me 20 years to get this done. So, who am I? I've only been working on it for 10. So if it happens in the next 5 or the next 10 or the next 20, then I can join the ranks of Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese. That's not a bad group to be associated with. Yeah.
It's a good club.
Not a bad group to be associated with. But we'll see. I just, it's frustrating, but what am I going to do?
I have faith. The idea sounds amazing. And
on
as long
paper,
as you get it done.
Cool, it works. So, I need the money, though, to make it work. I need the money.
And finally, what exciting projects are you working on that you can tell me about?
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Well, we got a big, Hidden Empire Film Group has a big movie coming out in 2020 called Fatale, starring 2-time Academy Award winner Hilary Swank that we shot last year in Los Angeles. It also stars Michael Ealy and Mike Coulter, an amazing noir thriller with a contemporary vibe. Hilary Swank kills it, so we can definitely talk about that because it's been announced. And then there's some other projects in the works that we can't necessarily talk about, but I'm really excited about Fatale. Man, this movie has so many cool shots, and the plot twists are amazing. And there's a reason why Hilary Swank's won 2 Oscars, and she proves every bit of that, like in the movie. She's like, oh my. Like, going to set each day and watching her was like going to like free acting school. Like getting paid to go to acting school. It's like, and I'm not even an actor. I was just standing there with my mouth wide open like, man, she's good. Like, she's really, really good. She's like good. And then watching Deon like direct her was like, man, it's like free acting school, free film school. Like that's how I can sum it up. So excited about Fatale coming in 2020. Check for that.
I'm excited to see it. I can't wait.
Good film. Notice I said film, not even a movie. This one's a film. It's a great film. Great film.
I can't wait for it. I'm going to write it in my calendar.
You better. Yeah,
I will.
Yeah, I'll hit you. I'll send you a text. Smoke signals.
You're so funny.
Yes, yeah.
But Shawn Edwards, thank you so much for being the first official guest on my Unfamous
It's cool, and I got to do it in
podcast.
London. Although I'm a little disappointed though. I didn't realize Big Ben was all covered up.
What?
It's under construction?
It is currently.
Wow.
But I think it's coming out of it soon.
And the bell doesn't go off anymore.
I mean, they're working on it.
I know. They said they can't ring the bell because it'll blow the construction workers' eardrums out.
Did that ruin your tourist experience?
Well, every time I come to London, like that's how I know I'm in London. I see Big Ben and I hear the bell and I'm like, I'm here.
And it's not ringing.
Nah, it's not. I got the vibe from the double-decker buses and the old school cabs that are actually new.
And it's raining, so you're definitely getting the London experience.
Yeah, it is. The last few times I've been in, it has not rained, so my streak is over.
Exactly.
No, but it was mad fun though. Like, big shout out to American Black Film Festival Global International Film Series. Jeff Friday, man, thank you, man. Like, what you're doing is big, man. Like I said, putting movies on a global scale. So I was so happy to screen Black and Blue as a part of the film series and festival here in London. That meant a lot. That's big. This goes down in the books. This is one to remember.
It was an amazing.
And I got to do this cool podcast. I've never done a podcast in London. Like, this is my first international podcast, so I feel special.
Thank you, Shawn, so much for being my first official guest. And thank you guys for listening. We'll be coming back with more content for you soon. Thank you. Say bye.
Bye. Bye.